Now, the rest of the story. Imagine having an employer like Sam Wilson. Sam was in the meatpacking business during the late 18th and the early 19th centuries, and his employees just loved him. Loved him for his honesty and his fairness and his sense of humor, and especially for the stories he liked to tell. Sam was always spinning yarns for his packing house workers. Here's one of them. He said when he was only 8 years young, in April of 1775, Paul Revere made his historic ride. But, now wait a minute, according to Sam, as the shot heard round the world was being fired at Lexington, he, Sam, was on the village green in his hometown Arlington, Massachusetts, a drummer boy who alerted the local patriots as the British advanced on that town. At the sight of a redcoat, little Sam would bang on his drum, and colonists would rush to the scene, muskets in hand. I don't know whether it was true. Sam Wilson's employees were always delighted by that story, however, and by another. The story that their employer in his youth was best friends with a lad named John Chapman, one who one day would be remembered as the folk hero nicknamed Johnny Appleseed. At 14, Sam joined the Continental Army. That part's true. He fought in the Revolution, or so he said. And yet more significant than the veracity of the recollection was the niceness of this man. There is no way for us to tell for sure how many of Sam Wilson's stories were true, nor how much was true of those that were partly false. But of the following, we are certain. The following is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. When Sam Wilson was 23 and almost penniless, he moved to Troy, New York, began one of the most respected businesses in the early history of our country, a meatpacking concern whose scrupulous reputation attracted government contracts. I'm thinking of one in particular, a contract with the Army during the War of 1812 to provide beef and pork for the soldiers. That same year, the first week of October, government inspectors were making a routine tour of the Wilson packing plant. Among the government officials was a former congressman, Theo Bailey. It was through Bailey's account of what happened that day, published in the New York Gazette almost 18 years later, that we know for sure what you are about to hear. During the inspection tour of Sam Wilson's meatpacking facility, one of the inspectors asked one of the meatpackers about a stamp marking, which he saw on most of the packing crates and barrels, big black letters, the initials U.S. Well, the truth, of course, was that U.S. stood for United States, that the containers stamped U.S. bore government goods, Army provisions. But this meatpacker, another of the many employees fond of Sam Wilson, made up a clever answer on the spot. And that answer created a national symbol, which is with us still. He made up an answer on the spot, and that answer created a national symbol that is with us to this day. For Sam Wilson thus became bigger than any of the tall old tales he ever told, having indirectly inspired an affectionate employee to invent an immortal nickname. Answering the question, what does that stamp on those crates stand for? What does that U.S. stand for? The meatpacker said, those are the initials of my employer. Good old Uncle Sam. That's right. Your Uncle Sam was named for Sam Wilson. And now you know the rest of the story.